Hello, and welcome back to my Garden of Tales. I'm Flower Girl J, and today is our last story for Black History Month. And today is a very special story about a girl who meets a man, a wise man, on top of a hill.
For those who have an ear, let them hear. In a land far away, there lived a girl named Cherry, who lived in a village that was separated into two. On the one side was the Blondies, and on the other side was the Bronzes. The Blondies thought that they were better because their skin was light, and they thought themselves brighter. The Bronzes thought that they were better because their skin was dark and rich like the soil of the earth. Every day, both sides would flaunt their superiority. Every day, they would try to outdo the other. Every day would be the same. Both sides were so distracted by their want to prove who was best that no one even bothered to work the fields or tend the land to provide for the village. When asked about the fields, it was always the same. The Blondies would say, "That's the work for the Bronzes." And the Bronzes would say, "Let the Blondies do it since they are so bright." So the work was never done, and poor Cherry was stuck in the middle. Cherry was rejected by both sides, even though she was a bronze. The bronze would say she was not a real bronze, or that she wasn't bronze enough, and that her hair made her look like a slave, or that she acted like a blondie and would never fit in. The Blondies would just say mockingly with their noses in the air, "Poor Cherry, she'll never be like us. We will always be better than her." Both thought her uncomely and unworthy. In her sorrow, she remembered a story her mother and the elders of the village had once told about a wise man who lived on top of a hill, who the villagers used to go see for help. So Cherry made her way up the hill. Of course, the villagers all laughed at her and shouted, "There ain't no man up there, hill girl. Is you stupid? Is you crazy? You ain't gonna find nothing up that hill. Why even bother?" But Cherry continued her trek. Up and up she went until she finally reached the top. And there, sitting near a campfire, was indeed a man. "Are you the wise man who lives on top of the hill?" asked Cherry. "I am," said the wise man. "My name is Cherry. Can you help me?" asked Cherry. The wise man gave a heartwarming smile and asked Cherry how he could help. Cherry began to cry and said, "No one in the village accepts me. I'm either too bronze or not bronze enough, or that I'm too smart or not smart enough, or that I'm not pretty enough. I just want to belong, be like the others. I really do." The wise man took out a cloth and wiped Cherry's tears and said, "To have a heart full of hatred, envy, pride, strife, and greed is not what you want, my daughter. To be like others is to lose yourself. You must be like Cherry." "But I am Cherry," said Cherry, confused. The wise man smiled and said, "Yes, but do you know that?" Cherry looked puzzled and asked, "You are very kind and wise. How come you are up here all alone?" The wise man smiled and said, "The villagers used to come and see me all the time, but over time they stopped coming to me for help and sought other ways and things to help their needs. Now they do not come at all. In fact, they even stop believing that I am alive and exist." Cherry felt sad for the man on the hill, but the man on the hill simply smiled and said, "Come and visit me again tomorrow," said the wise man. But before Cherry got up to go home, the wise man had pulled out a sack and a pair of golden sandals from his robe. From the bag, he pulled out a seed from it and put it in Cherry's hair, and then gave her the pair of golden sandals. Put these on your feet to remind you to keep following the right path when others do not. The next day, Cherry went up the hill and met the wise man again. "Hello, Cherry," he said in a loving tone. "How are you?" "I feel a little better, but I still feel unwanted and rejected." The wise man grabbed from his bag another seed and put it in Cherry's hair, and this time gave Cherry golden bracelets for both her arms and wrists and golden earrings for each ear, and said, "To remind you that you are as precious as gold." Then the wise man said, "Come and see me tomorrow." The following day, Cherry came up the hill again. "Hello, Cherry. How are you today?" asked the wise man. "I'm getting better, but I still wish I was like everyone else." The wise man planted another seed in Cherry's hair and then placed a golden crown on top of her head. "To remind you that you are a leader and not a follower." "Sir," asked Cherry, "why do you give me these gifts that I do not deserve, and why put seeds in my hair?" The wise man said with a warm smile, "To help you remember who you really are. And as for the seeds, you will find out soon." The next day, Cherry came up the hill. "Hello, wise man. How are you feeling today?" said Cherry. The wise man smiled a big smile and said, "I am fine. And you, Cherry?" "I've been feeling a lot better since I've talked and spent time with you, but I still can't help feel unspecial." Cherry and the wise man talked until it was time to go home. Before Cherry set off for home, the wise man placed a seed in Cherry's hair and gave her a robe of purple and gold design and trimmings. "Wear this to remind you that you have a purpose." As Cherry walked down the hill, the villagers noticed Cherry and the change that was taking hold. Every time she came down the hill, she shone as bright as the sun. Cherry, the once ugly and rejected, was now the strong and beautiful. Both sides of the village were confused, baffled, and even jealous of Cherry. Yet Cherry still went up the hill to see the wise man every day, for years in fact. Until one day, a disease and famine hit across the land. Both sides were hungry, sick, and dying, and there was no cure. Both sides of the village came to Cherry and begged, "Oh, please, Cherry, inquire for us when you go see the wise man." "Why can't you all go with me and ask him for yourselves?" asked Cherry. "We cannot go. We are not as bold and as strong as you are. Please go for us. Oh, please, Cherry." So Cherry went up and asked the wise man what could be done. With a great sigh, the wise man said, "Because of their focused hatred towards one another, they have neglected their land and have lost focus as to what is really important. Because of their envy toward one another, they have forgotten to care for one another," said the wise man. "What can be done? I do not want my people to suffer and die. Oh, please help my people, wise man. You are the only one that can," cried Cherry. "In the barren field there is a dead tree, but inside its trunk grows jasmine. Also, honey can be found, enough for the whole village. Take the honey and jasmine from the tree. The honey is to feed your people. Then make a tea with the jasmine and add a little bit of honey to cure your people of their sickness." Cherry quickly went down the hill and told the villagers the wise man's words, and instructed the villagers to grab as many pots for the honey and sacks for the jasmine as possible. All of the villagers worked together and did what they should have done in the first place. They fed each other and cared for each other. Everyone was fed during the famine, and Cherry's people were cured from the disease. From that day on, the villagers made Cherry their queen. Cherry still visited the wise men every day and took many with her to visit him. And from that day forward, Cherry knew who she was. She was Cherry, and she blossomed.
As we come to a close for Black History Month, it's so important to know that you, each and every one of you watching this, is so special. And always remember that you have a purpose. Don't be like everyone else. Be the young woman and young man that God has called you to be. There's a saying in the Bible, and it's been passed down from my generation and back to my great-grandmothers. I look to the hills, which cometh my help. My help cometh from the Lord. Until next time, this is Flower Girl J saying stay blessed. Love you all.